one of the greatest verses in the Bible, I believe, and that's 2 Chronicles 16:9. The eyes of the Lord move to and fro across the face of the whole earth, that he might show himself strong to those who are loyal towards him. And God had given Asa a warning or a promise earlier that if you will seek me, I'll be found by you. But if you forsake me, I'll forsake you. So you can be confident in taking a role of leadership if you rely upon the one who is great, the one who can do great things, the one who can empower you to do anything. And if we're loyal to him and we rely on him and we seek him. So when Asa had to face that huge army, he said, God, we go out in your name. This is your battle. You fight it. You can lead, and you can lead by trusting in God. You're going to be able to be an extremely effective leader in doing that. And you're going to find that God's going to empower you to be it. Everyone's a leader. They are. You lead your kids, you lead your dog, you're a leader in any way in your life. And it's just taking that to another level when God calls you to be a leader in a certain situation. The goal, and if I could encourage people who are in the LGBTQ plus community and parents that have kids in that community, so both of them, would be if you want a relationship with your parents and you want a relationship with your child, you're gonna have to be considerate. You're going to have to, and we all know how to do it. We all have these social rules, so I can be true to Christ and I can be considerate to them and not say things that hurt them, that offend them, that make them feel like they need to be defensive themselves. And they can do the same with their parents. Unfortunately, in the LGBTQ plus community, they're very, and this is ironic, evangelical. They want to push their agenda. They want you to conform to them, so they are not considerate towards their parents. And so the parent gets pushed into a corner, and then when the parent finally draws a line, then the child will say, well, I'm cutting you off and it's your fault, because you wouldn't conform to what I want. So if you're saying, I'm gonna respect you in the decisions you've made about your life, and I disagree with it, but I'm gonna respect you for the sake of my love for you, then there ought to be the reverse of that, to where I love you, mom and dad, I know you don't agree with this, I know this hurts you, and so I wanna be respectful or considerate so that I'm not hurting you, and you don't leave us getting together with a hole in your gut because of things that I said. And this, if those things can be together, then a father and mother may be able to say, I disagree with you marrying, obviously, you know that, but I love you and I'm gonna attend. I think that could happen. I think it's rare, but I think it can happen. And I just didn't want to paint with such a broad brush that we couldn't leave people to be able to make a decision for that. If it came down to me having to go to one of my children's weddings, there was a gay marriage, I'm not sure I could. So even in defending that in our Q&A, I'm not sure that I could. So it's just got to be such a personal thing that happens and goes on. And I even asked the question later on, am I wrong about that? Because certainly we can say things and we can be wrong. What I don't think that I'm wrong on is that we need to have compassion and love for our children. Because if our children are in that and we allow there to be a separation, that we aren't interacting, when they're hurting, they're not going to come to you. When they're in crisis, they're not going to come to you. And it's out of crisis and it's out of hurting that people come back to Christ. So you aren't in their lives anymore because you allowed something to drive a wedge between you, or they drove a wedge between you and you allowed it. So we need to do everything we can do to keep it open. And that certainly doesn't mean compromising our convictions. We have to live our convictions. And even if that does mean separation from our children, if that's the case, but we want to stay there in their lives and connected. And it's hard because it's got to be both. The LGBTQ person, and I don't think anybody's encouraging them to not hurt their family or their friends or their parents, when we're certainly encouraging people to not hurt them when you're there with them, to love them, to not say things that are just downright hurtful.